You already know what that means. You are not driving 500 miles to a shelter. You are not trusting a hotline. You are not waiting on help. You are staying home. And whatever you have on hand, that is what you live on. That is what you defend with. Here is the problem. Most guys prepare for a short fight. They buy the trendy rifle, the popular pistol, the loud internet loadout. Then the shelves go empty, and they realize their whole plan depends on ammo they can't replace. A gun you cannot feed is not a weapon. It is a metal paperweight. So today, we are doing World War III home defense the hard way. Not fantasies, not vibes. Real guns, real ammo realities. The kind of setup that still works when the shelves stay empty. Welcome to the armory. Most people picture World War III the wrong way. They think it starts with jets, missiles, foreign troops, something loud, something obvious. But that is not how it hits you. It hits you in silence. The first shot is not fired on your street. The first shot is fired at the supply chain. 1 week you are living normal. Next week, gas stations are out, stores are empty, deliveries stop, and that little back in stock button becomes a joke. You already got a preview during the pandemic. Empty shelves, panic buying, people fighting over basics. Now imagine that, but it does not bounce back. No restock truck, no second wave of shipments, no 2 more weeks, just gone, and out here in the country. Let us kick this off with number 7, the AR-15, chambered in 5.56 NATO. If you walk into just about any local sporting goods store right now and ask the guy behind the counter what you need for World War III home defense, he is going to hand you this exact rifle. And from a pure peacetime perspective, that logic feels solid. Designed by Eugene Stoner in the late 1950s, the AR-15 changed the small arms world by leaning into aerospace-style materials, forged aluminum, advanced composites, lightweight, modular, easy to handle from an engineering standpoint. That direct impingement gas system is a big reason this rifle stays controllable in fast shooting. When you fire a round, high-pressure gas expands down the barrel. It vents through the gas block, then runs back through a stainless steel tube, straight into the bolt carrier group. The bolt uses 7 locking lugs. They rotate and lock into the steel barrel extension. So the aluminum receiver is not taking the full beating of chamber pressure. That inline recoil path drives the action straight back into the buffer tube, and it reduces muzzle climb in a big way. You can run this gun fast and keep your sights tracked where they need to be. It is a brilliant piece of machinery when you have a stable society to support it. But here is where most men get it wrong in crisis planning. They plan for a temporary disruption, not a permanent grid-down collapse. And when the goal is guns that still work when shelves go empty, the standard AR-15 runs into a wall. Why? Because in real-world shortages, 5.56 is one of the first rifle rounds to get stripped off shelves. Everybody has an AR-15. That means your neighbors, your county, and every stranger passing through is competing for the exact same boxes of ammo. When the supply chain locks up for good, you cannot count on scavenging 5.56. You will be fighting the crowd for it. The pros are obvious. It is adaptable, accurate at intermediate distances out to 400 yards, and it is easy for just about anyone in the family to shoot. The cons show up hard in a prolonged emergency. That direct impingement system dumps heat and carbon back into the action. It needs lubrication. It needs cleaning. Ignore that long enough, and you invite stoppages. But the fatal flaw is ammo dependency. Once your personal stockpile is gone, that highly engineered rifle becomes a useless aluminum club for a reliable entry-level standard model. Like the Smith & Wesson M and P15 Sport 3, the manufacturer's suggested retail price is $799, and the street price is commonly around $650. Now, let us look at the sidearm almost every guy naturally pairs with that rifle, and why it shares the exact same fatal flaw. Number 6, the Glock 19, chambered in 9mm, just like the rifle we just covered. This pistol is the default answer for modern self-defense. Back in the early 1980s, Gaston Glock, A guy known for simple curtain rods and military knives entered an Austrian military pistol trial and flipped the handgun industry on its head. He brought a durable polymer frame, one that flexes under recoil, and a striker-fired system. No external hammer, no heavy, complicated double-action trigger pull. The genius of the Glock 19 is mechanical simplicity. It runs a short recoil, locked breech design, using the Browning cam system. It is famously simple inside, about 34 parts in total. The safe action system uses 3 automatic safeties. Built into the trigger mechanism, the firing pin system, and the drop safety block. No external manual levers to fumble with under stress. You draw, you aim, you press. The barrel uses polygonal rifling instead of traditional cut lands and grooves. That improves the gas seal behind the bullet. It can bump velocity slightly, and it makes the bore easy to wipe clean with a basic cloth patch. It is the definition of a utilitarian workhorse. But in the harsh reality of World War III home defense, that sense of safety can shatter fast. The Glock 19 is a victim of its own popularity. 9mm is the most consumed centerfire pistol cartridge on the planet. So when panic hits and delivery trucks stop, 9mm can vanish in hours. The survival fantasy is simple. 9mm is common, so I will find it everywhere. In abandoned vehicles, in empty stores. The brutal reality. Millions of other armed, desperate people have the exact same plan. Relying on 9mm when the world stops means you are betting your life on the most aggressively hoarded resource in the country. That directly contradicts the whole philosophy of choosing guns that still work when shelves go empty. Let us break down practical pros and cons. The pros: legendary reliability, even in ugly conditions like mud and sand. A lightweight profile you can carry on your belt all day while doing hard chores. And strong magazine capacity. The cons: handguns are difficult to shoot accurately under real adrenaline past 20 yards. And more importantly, total dependence on a high-demand, zero-supply caliber during a major collapse makes it a terrible long-term strategy. For a standard Generation 5 Glock 19, the manufacturer's suggested retail price is $599, and the street price usually sits around $499. Up to this point, everything sounds like what most people expect. But this is exactly how most men get it wrong. Because when the shelves go empty, these are the first things to disappear. Before we talk about number 5, you need to understand this. The top 3 guns on this list are going to challenge what you thought you knew about survival. And that number 1 spot, that is going to make a lot of tactical guys angry. But it is the undisputed king for surviving a permanent collapse. Now, we need to talk about the tactical trap. Number 5, the 300 Blackout rifle over the last 10 years. This platform became a status symbol for guys chasing a modern, specialized close-quarter setup. Originally developed by Advanced Armament Corporation with special operations in mind, the idea was specific: create a heavy 30 caliber projectile that could run in an AR-15 pattern gun with nothing changed except the barrel. The engineering is clever. The case is formed from modified 5.56 brass, shortened and necked up. That keeps the case head dimensions the same, which is why it works with the standard bolt, standard extractor, standard ejector, and standard 30-round magazines. It is optimized for full powder burn and short barrels, often under 9 inches. Load it with heavy 220-grain subsonic bullets, add a quality suppressor, and it can get impressively quiet. In a functioning world, it is a phenomenal surgical tool for home protection. You can move through tight doorways and dark hallways without wrecking your hearing or lighting yourself up with flash. But when the power grid goes down permanently, 300 Blackout becomes a devastating trap. Because it is a specialty caliber, more expensive, produced in smaller batches, and far less common than standard military and hunting rounds, you are not going to find piles of subsonic 300 Blackout sitting dusty on the bottom shelf of a rural hardware store or a farm supply shop. When the global supply chain dies, this ammo can go extinct fast, and a high-speed suppressed rifle means nothing if you cannot feed it. This platform fails the World War III home defense test because it depends on a modern, fragile, Supply chain. The pros are real in peacetime, devastating close-range performance, and strong suppression capability, but the cons are fatal in a long off-grid emergency. That heavy bullet trajectory drops hard past 200 yards, so it is a poor choice for perimeter defense on large rural land, and limited availability during panic means it becomes the first rifle that gets shoved to the back of the safe and stays there. Pricing varies a lot depending on the build. Looking at a premium factory standard, like the Daniel Defense DDM4 PDW. The manufacturer's suggested retail price is $2,199, with a street price often hovering around $1,950. Now we are crossing into hard reality. We are leaving tactical trends behind and moving to guns that do not disappear overnight. Number 4, the Ruger 1022, chambered in .22 long rifle. Now we are getting closer to the truth. These are practical working guns, not internet trends, not tactical fantasies, introduced in 1964 by Bill Ruger. This humble rimfire rifle has lived in pickup trucks, old barns, and rural homesteads for well over half a century. The design is rugged and straightforward. It runs a simple direct blowback system. When the firing pin crushes the rim, powder burns, and the expanding force pushes the heavy steel bolt rearward against a stout recoil spring, it ejects the spent casing and strips a fresh one from the magazine. There is no delicate gas block, no tiny gas tube, and very few moving parts to break. The trigger group lives in one modular assembly, held in place by 2 cross pins. Push those pins out with a basic punch, and you can clean the whole system fast. But the real star of the show is the legendary 10-round rotary magazine. It sits flush with the bottom of the stock, so it will not snag on heavy winter clothing, thick brush, or truck seats when you are pulling it in a hurry. This rifle solves the core problem of this video. When panicked, suburban folks are fighting tooth and nail for the last box of 9mm. The man with a .22 long rifle already has 5,000 rounds, sitting quietly in a sealed metal ammo can under the workbench. .22 long rifle is cheap, it is abundant, and it lets you stockpile years of utility without draining your bank account or filling an entire room in a grid-down scenario. Your biggest daily threat is not always a coordinated gang. A lot of the time, it is slow starvation and constant pest control around the property. This rifle puts small game on the table: rabbits, squirrels, birds, quietly and efficiently. It is the definition of guns that still work when shelves go empty, because you can realistically secure a lifetime supply of fuel for it. Right now, today. The pros are unmatched: ammunition capacity per dollar, virtually zero recoil, so anyone in the household can shoot it, regardless of age or size, and reliability proven across generations. The cons are clear, and they matter. It lacks the kinetic energy to reliably stop a large, determined two-legged threat, or punch through heavy barriers, and rimfire ammo can have occasional dud primers compared to centerfire. But for daily long-term survival and quiet homestead sustainment, it is essential. For a classic woodstock Ruger 1022, the manufacturer's suggested retail price is $389, and the street price is commonly around $299. If you are watching this from the living room couch, pull out your phone, open the YouTube app, and tell me your thoughts in the comments on these first 4 choices. Number 3. The classic pump-action 12-gauge shotgun, specifically legends like the Mossberg 500 or the Remington 870. These are not fancy. They do not win tactical beauty contests, but they have ridden in police cruisers and stood quietly in farmhouse corners for decades. For one simple reason: they work every single time. A pump shotgun is brute force reliability. It is the manual transmission of the firearms world. Unlike semi-automatic rifles that depend on precise gas timing, a pump shotgun is powered entirely by you. You fire, then you rack the fore-end. That rearward motion drives dual steel action bars. It extracts the plastic hull, ejects it, and cocks the internal hammer. Push forward. A fresh shell lifts into position, and the bolt locks tight into the barrel. Because you are the engine, it is not sensitive to dirty environments or varying powder charges. If the shell fits in the chamber, the gun will fire it. For World War III home defense, with permanently empty shelves, 12 gauge offers a massive strategic advantage. It is the ultimate survival utility tool, even during modern shortages, when rifle calibers were wiped out. You could often still find 12 gauge loads in smaller stores, especially birdshot. The 12 gauge lets you adapt to whatever ammo you can realistically find in a collapsed world. Heavy slugs, buckshot, light target loads for birds. It solves the problem of unpredictability. The pros: unmatched versatility, devastating close-range energy, and simple mechanics. The cons: heavy recoil that can intimidate beginners, limited capacity, and slow reloads. For a standard Mossberg 500 combo model, a realistic manufacturer suggested retail price is often in the $500 range, and the street price commonly sits around $400. But even the most versatile shotgun cannot accurately reach across an open pasture to stop a threat before it gets to your front porch, which brings us to the ultimate rural defender. Number 2, the Marlin 336 lever action rifle, chambered in 30-30 Winchester. This is the symbol of the rural American working man, long before modular aluminum rifles took over the market. The lever action guarded the homestead. The engineering is a masterpiece of forged steel and solid walnut. It uses a solid top receiver with side ejection, so you can mount a modern optic over the bore. The whole action is driven by a manual lever loop. Push the lever down, the locking block drops, the bolt moves rearward, spent brass ejects, the external hammer cocks, and a fresh cartridge rises from the underbarrel tubular magazine. Pull the lever back, the round chambers, and the breech locks solid. It is a more enclosed system, so it resists blowing dirt in harsh weather. But the real reason this rifle earns a top spot for World War III home defense comes down to ammunition economy and human psychology. When panic buying starts, the tactical crowd ignores 30-30 Winchester. And in real shortages, 30-30 is often one of the last centerfire rifle cartridges to disappear. It is a heavy hunting cartridge built for deer in thick brush, with proven stopping power out to 200 yards. It is the perfect example of guns that still work when shelves go empty, because the masses do not target that ammo first. The pros: slim profile, easy carry, real stopping power, reliable manual action, and a socially acceptable look that draws less attention. The cons: tubular magazines are slow to reload, blunt bullets have poor aerodynamics, so range is limited, and the ammo is heavy. For a newly manufactured Ruger-built Marlin 336 Classic, the manufacturer suggested retail price is $1,239, and the street price is usually around $1,100. Now we are getting close. These are the guns that do not disappear overnight. They do not rely on trends. But there is still one more step, because even here, only one truly holds up when everything breaks. Number 1, the absolute undeniable truth, the 308 Winchester bolt action rifle. Looking at rugged working-class rifles, like the Ruger American or the Savage Axis. This is not flashy, it is not glamorous. You will not see it headlining action movies. But if everything stopped tomorrow, no delivery trucks, no online orders, and no second chances, this is the one gun that keeps you standing. Let us talk mechanical reality. A turn-bolt rifle is one of the strongest, simplest, most durable firearm actions ever built. It is basically a heavy forged steel receiver and barrel. With a robust firing pin system, push the bolt forward, lock the handle down, and massive steel locking lugs rotate directly into the barrel extension. It creates a high-pressure vault for the cartridge. There are no gas ports to clog with carbon, no delicate action bars to bend, and because it does not rely on semi-auto gas timing, a bolt gun can often run dirty, slightly out of spec, or scavenged ammunition. Ammo that would choke a modern tactical rifle. It can run in freezing mud, pouring rain, and bone-dry heat, with minimal maintenance, for a very long time. It is mechanically stubborn. This rifle solves the core problem of our entire video. World War III home defense is not about surviving a 10-minute firefight. It is about surviving a grinding 10-year collapse. .308 Winchester is one of the most universally produced short-action hunting and service rifle cartridges on the planet. Even when shelves go empty, .308 is the kind of ammo you can still find, tucked away in hunting cabins and sitting in old pawn shops, long after the trendy calibers are gone. More importantly, the bolt action changes your mindset. A semi-auto tempts you to panic and waste rounds. A bolt gun forces you to slow down, control breathing, and place one accurate shot. It conserves ammunition, and ammunition is your lifeline. The pros: supreme mechanical reliability, surgical accuracy, devastating terminal performance, and real ammunition conservation. The cons: slow rate of fire, low magazine capacity, and it is a poor choice for multiple attackers in a tight hallway. But out in rural country, distance is your best defense. For a standard synthetic stock Ruger American, the manufacturer's suggested retail price is $599, and the street price is almost always around $450. And that brings us to the final decision you have to make. When you look at the reality of a collapsed world, we have walked through the hard truth today. Most men prepare for World War III home defense by buying high-speed tactical gear they see online. And they forget the simplest rule: when the grid goes down, the supply chain dies with it. And we have seen how the most popular options are the first to fail, because the ammo they rely on gets hoarded and disappears fast. If everything stopped tomorrow, there would be no delivery trucks coming to save you, no online orders, and no second chances to correct mistakes. You cannot shoot your way out of a permanent shortage with a gun you cannot feed. You do not need the fastest rifle, the most expensive rifle, or the most popular rifle on the block to protect your property. You need the one that still works, with the ammo you actually have on hand. Choosing guns that still work when shelves go empty is the only grounded strategy for long-term rural survival. The decision is yours, right now, while you still have the time, the peace, and the resources to prepare properly. So I want you to do this. Take a hard, honest look at your gun safe today. If the global supply chain froze tonight, would your primary firearm stay a reliable tool, keeping your family fed and protected for years? Or would it become an expensive metal paperweight in a matter of weeks? If you are watching from the living room couch, pull out your phone, open the YouTube app, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Stay safe, stay informed, and I will see you in the next one. This is the Armory signing off.